The house on Hemlock Lane was beautiful, but in the way a predator is beautiful, sleek, perfect, and utterly misleading. It wasn't some classic, dilapidated mansion clinging to a cliff. No, it was simply heavy, too quiet. The kind of place you drove past and felt a little sorry for, standing all alone behind its ancient hedge. When the Millers moved in last year, the whole town felt that familiar cold prickle of dread. Steve and Sarah Miller, 2 kids, 8 and 10. They were a normal family. Dreamers. They even had a blog called Fixer Upper Faith. They saw the house not as an ominous relic, but as a project, a fresh start. They were blinded by the cheap price and those gorgeous hardwood floors. They chose the house, believing they could fix its flaws. But they didn't know the flaw wasn't in the paint or the plumbing. The flaw was the house itself. The first few weeks were easy, just the normal sounds of a 100-year-old house settling in, until they weren't. Sarah mentioned it first. A specific faint smell, not mould, not dust. She described it as the smell of forgotten anxiety. Like the residue of 100 bad memories pressed into the wallpaper. Then the changes started. Small, impossible shifts you could easily dismiss. Steve swore the hallway from the kitchen to the laundry room was a foot shorter than he remembered. He'd measure it, find the number was wrong, and just blame his tape measure. A closet door on the 2nd floor. They'd painted it shut. But 2 days later, they'd find it standing 3 inches further down the wall, the plaster around it completely undisturbed. The family didn't see ghosts. They didn't see shadows. They just felt a profound, unnatural discomfort. They thought it was the stress of the move, the weight of the project. But they were wrong. The house was simply finding their frequency. It was testing the air. This house wasn't passively haunted, it was actively hungry, and it had just begun to taste their low-level simmering confusion. That feeling, the fear of losing your mind, was its first course. The house didn't want them gone. It wanted them afraid. Their terror, you see, was the energy it needed to fuel its ultimate purpose. And so the changes became targeted, personal. The Millers had started sleeping with their bedroom door ajar, a small comfort against the silent night. But one morning, Sarah woke up and found the door not only shut, but the handles removed. The frame was seamless, as if the door had been erased entirely, sealing them in. Steve had to use a crowbar to get them out. Their 8-year-old son, Liam, had a deep fear of small spaces. The house knew this. One afternoon, he ran into his walk-in closet to hide during a game, but the walls had come in. Not structurally, not physically, but impossibly. The back wall of the closet now pressed up against the door, turning a large cupboard into a claustrophobic 3-foot square box. He screamed until his lungs were raw. When his father finally broke the door down, the closet was back to its normal size. The house was weaving a maze, using their fears as the thread. It was remodeling itself into a perfect, inescapable trap. The air grew thick and heavy, like trying to breathe underwater. The Millers were becoming frantic, isolated. Each one started convincing themselves the others were just exhausted, hallucinating, or even lying. They couldn't trust their own eyes, their own memories, or each other. It all came to a head on a Thursday night, the night they decided to flee. They planned to bolt at dawn, get out before the sun was even up. But the house wouldn't wait. Around 2 a.m, the house began its final remodel. Steve went downstairs to get the car keys, to prepare for their escape. But the stairway was gone. In its place was a smooth, endless, perfectly pristine wall. He ran back to the bedroom in a panic. He tried the window. It was now a solid pane of glass, sealed as if it had never been meant to open. They were trapped on the 2nd floor. We know what happened next, only because of the neighbour's terrified call to the police. The neighbour heard them. Not a ghost. The actual, frantic, animal sound of a family trying to escape a structure that was actively closing in on them, shouting, pounding, the distinct sound of drywall tearing, and then silence. Absolute, heavy, perfect silence. When the police arrived, they found the house empty. They found signs of a violent, panicked flight, overturned furniture, a baseball bat lying uselessly by the remains of a door that had been kicked in. But there were no millers, no blood, no bodies. The house had consumed their terror. It was full, and it was time for its digestive process. After the authorities left, the house began its renovation. It spent the energy of the Miller family's fear and despair to completely restore itself. You wouldn't believe it. Within a month, every cracked window was repaired. Every impossible wall was straightened. The landscaping was perfect. It had used their terror to become, quite simply, the most charming, irresistible home on the market. This house isn't haunted. It doesn't need ectoplasm or cold spots. It is a predator that remodels, waiting for the next hopeful, naive family to see a good deal and potential instead of a deep, endless void. It waits for people with dreams it can twist and fear it can harvest. The house is rested now, beautiful, immaculately clean. The for sale sign went up this morning, and the people who stopped to look at the listing, I heard them say they have 2 kids, 8 and 10, just like the Millers. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.